Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dr. Vinaya Kumari, Associate Professor, AIESR. Today, we will talk on a very interesting topic, which will help you to enrich your speaking and speaking skills and writing skills, especially your conversational ability. Because your speaking skill is very important when you go for interviews or for any job. And also writing, because we are using these skills for writing, also for writing essays. So today's topic, I'll just share the screen now, just a second. So today's topic workshop is sensory words and idiomatic phrases. So what do you learn out of sensory words? After this lesson, you will be able to define and identify sensory language, give an example of sensory language, and use sensory language, and make connection with sensory words and real life examples. Now, before we begin, we will continue with what we did, because I don't want to tell you at the outset what's sensory language. That's why I kept repeating the word sensory, because I want you to, I want your curiosity to be aroused. I know you have an idea, some of you know what exactly it is, but today we will, apply it, we will practice it. Shall I give you an activity? Are all of you here? Students, can you hear me? Or are you on mute? Are all of you here, students? Okay. So, yes, students, I want you, yesterday we spoke about a jungle safari. I want some of you to tell a few lines about, any of the picture which you see. These are some pictures. See, what is the difference between what we learned yesterday? We described, right? We described yesterday, I told you the words, the sounds of animals, the young ones of animals, and names of animals which we haven't heard of. But then we just imagine, we know what's a penguin because we might not have seen a penguin, but we've seen on television, or we imagine. Even if we try to, yesterday we tried to, even if I say umbrella, unless you see it, when you see it, or you get a vision of it, then, or you see a visual of it, you won't get a clear idea, because descriptive words have their limitation. You can use words to describe, and if and for that you need sensory words to describe, to give. As I said, descriptive writing is to describe something and give a photographic representation, image of what you're describing. And for that, these sensory words are different, because, for example, the descriptive word, when as I told you, in a descriptive word, you describe a person, how he looks. Okay, in a very objective, the sharp or the sharp nose, receding forehead, we learn terms. But then when you say receding forehead, you'll say, okay, partly, bald out here. But then when you show a picture, so what sense are you show a picture? Your sight, sense of sight, is active. So you get a visual of it and you get a clearer picture. So similarly, sensory language is using words of sight, taste, smell. For example, if I ask you to talk, yes, can you just speak a few lines right now before we go on to the lesson of sensory words? Can you just talk a few lines about the picture you see? If you don't like to talk about jungles, I have another picture you can talk about. You can speak about, a holiday, a vacation, a summer vacation where you're going to a hilltop. Yes, can you speak a few lines? Can you just, yes, describe what you see? Yes, students, are you on mute? Yes? Okay, so we go on to sensory words, because if you describe Can someone just tell one line about what you see here, the picture that you see? Yes? Because unless you describe, and then after giving you the list of, talking to you about sensory words and practice, you will know the difference in the way you describe. And then we move on to idiomatic phrases. So no one seems to be, so let's move on to the sensory words. So sensory words are words which appeal to the sense. What are the 5 senses? There are 5 types of sensory words. Sight words. So sight words, for example, when you say bright, gloomy, dark, dazzling. So these are sight words. But then sight words also have, when you say, the color, the hue, and also shapes. So these are descriptions which accompany the sight words. When I say the spoke of an umbrella, it is just a description. It's a word. But sight word is when you see these, the feeling. It appeals to your senses. So this is what you learn when at the end of the lessons, because you see, writers usually use language to paint a picture. As I said, you paint a picture, or you get a photographic image. When you paint a picture, or the picture is painted as a photographic image in the minds of the people who listen to you. So that can be done only with sensory words, because these words appeal to your emotions, appeal to your 5 senses. And then one way a writer can do is by writing things about his own, her senses. Okay, so what are they? Writers write about things they see, hear, feel, smell, taste. See what makes novels of Dickens, or because the feeling, they talk about, the blur, the gloomy winter, and then they describe the snow. And then even when they talk about, when you touch the sand, it's rough, right? We only know rough. Rough is a general word. But when you say gritty means a surface of the, you have the scrape, you scrape out the surface of sandpaper. All these are gritty stuff. So these are, some of the touch words. So these are some of the words which I'm giving you. But there are 5 different types of sensory writing. What are they? So when they use sensory words which appeal to the senses, and it gives a very, appealing and clear description, you get the feel of being there. That's why I wanted to give an activity where you close your eyes and imagine that you are on a hilltop. And then if you completely concentrate, what are the sounds you hear? Then when I ask you for words, it will be difficult to get the words out, right? That is why we have to use these sensory words, which we are going to learn today, or you're going to know about today. And in our day-to-day conversation, and from the conversation or from your speech, it goes to your written work. So the first one is, so they create an imagery, right? So this enrich your writing style. Yesterday when I described the sunset, what made a difference? It was a descriptive word, but there were sensory words like the color, the hue of the sun, the red, crimson red sunset. So immediately when you say crimson red, you think of that evening sunset. So there are 5 different types of sensory writing style that primarily focus on 5 senses: touch, taste, smell, sight, and hearing. So the visual means sight. So these engage the sense of sight. So these are technical terms, the imagery, but we will use simple words because gustatory imagery, sense of taste. So when you say that, how is it? It's delicious. How is the food delicious? Tangy. Spicy. Instead of spicy, you can say it's pungent. Pungent can also be a smell word. Tactile, of course, touch words. Gritty. What do you say? Creepy. Sometimes you feel a creepy kind of when animals creep, they're creepy, right? And sometimes what is gooey? Gooey is the porridge. Gooey can also be the slush, when it rains. So these are all touch words. Gooey, slimy, gritty, sticky. And then when you touch, a hairy animal, or you say it's fluffy. You also say, so fluffy feel is when you have furry animal. Sometimes even the hair is fluffy. So these are some of the words, which give a clearer description. Okay. And then auditory or engaged sense of hearing. Now, if I say, what is the most common actually symptom of this corona? Can someone tell what is the basic symptom? Can someone tell me what is the basic symptom of corona? Yes?
Loss of taste and smell.
Yes, loss of fever. And so when you say I have fever, cough and headache. So if you say I had a headache, terrible. But if you say if you have a thumping headache, it means somebody, that is the exact word. If you say I had a headache, it's terrible headache and fever. I had a thumping headache. It shows that you are someone is thumping. That's the kind of feeling you have, right? Olfactory. So it's just is a sense of smell. As I told you, when you enter a cave, that's why I wanted you to talk about the beach or the hillside. When you enter a cave or a closed room or an attic or a cellar, you get a kind of smell, right? It's called. So you say it's a smell of what is the word? Musty. Even musty smell, with the smell of fungus, wet shoes, if you keep them for some days. So they're musty smell. So these are words which give, which give meaning, add more meaning to your language. So now sight words. Let's take some sight words. And I want you to, sight words make a reader see what you see. Talk about colors. So you see, yesterday I told you about colors. So I'm just and share this and go to some of the colors that I have saved. You just see different shades of when you say red or green. Each one. Now, okay, let's take blue. Do you see this? Do you see the screen? Do you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, look at the kind of. This is called azure blue. This is indigo. Indigo is a part of a rainbow, right? Violet, indigo. This is indigo. This is Egyptian blue, Oxford blue, Prussian blue. I remember my drawing teacher telling me, use Prussian blue, turquoise blue. You see sapphire blue, Prussian blue. There's also Prussian blue. And then you have turquoise blue. So now let's go to another color. Not this one. We'll take the next image when you take, see? So when you say green, this is green, generally green, parakeet green, shamrock green, fern green, olive green, emerald, emeralds are sea foam, sea green you call. Say this is a kind of green, grayish green. Seaweed, this is also green. So when you just say green, this is a color of seaweed green, pickle green, pistachio green, basil, crocodile green. Crocodile is also green, but it's this color. Pear, lime. And we just say dark green, light green, grass green. But there are some more greens. These are just a few examples because we know like bottle green. Bottle green will be, I don't have a color. Will be something like this, but not exactly. It's a kind bottle green, the color of peacock. That's bottle green. So this is green. So when you say green, when you say fern green, there's a color of olive green. People understand. Sage green, emerald green. Now we go on to red. When you think of red, do you know the number of, okay, this is purple. Purple, this is called mauve. Just you have to learn mauve, because when you say purple, people might think of this color or this color. Magenta, you know, magenta is also kind of purple. Lilac, mauve. Violet, generally we know two colors, violet, purple, but what? It's a lilac shade. Heather, I mean, so you have to learn orchid, raisin, jam purple, you mix fruit jam. Grape is also purple, right? Wine, lilac. So these are the common ones: mauve, violet, magenta, lilac, and general purple. Grape. These are the common. Even heather. These purples are the common colors which we use. We do have clouds of this color. So it's boysenberry, purple. So we have to learn. You see the color when you want to describe something. Keep the color. Give the exact color. If you say just red, people don't get the exact picture. This is what great writers do. These are different shades of orange, tiger orange, fire. You know, this is cedar, marigold, tangerine. These are some of the colors. Bronze, the bronze metal, honey, carrot, squash, spice, sandstone, yam, amber, marmalade, apricot. See, these are fire. Fire sometimes can be oranges when you put orange color when you put it out, right? And so that's it. I have the shades of green too. This is blue. I do have shade. I did download green. That it goes to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. D, E, F, G, H, I, green. Well, I think I showed you green, red. Did I show you red? Okay, let's move on. So you can get all the shades. So these are shades of brown here. See, how many shades of brown are there? Coffee, mocha, peanut, hickory, wood, pecan, gingerbread, caramel, walnut. These you can say chocolate. When you say chocolate, tortilla, tawny. Tawny is a color. You see in Pied Piper of Family, in that poem, you have tawny rats, brown rats, black rats, but they don't say coffee rats, cinnamon. So you have, if you want to actually write, you have to learn the colors. So red, I have it in the under the title red, I think. Well, let's move on. You red, you have amber red. I think I showed you red. Now let's go back to our PPT. So you see color. When you yesterday I was telling about color, or you know, color. It does not mean that you have, and also brick, aqua, red, teal. They've just said red color. So now, can you describe these pictures? So sight words: fast, slow, bouncy, pointy, straight, square, pretty, dull, ugly. These are some of the sight words, but there is a big list. In the end, when I give you the exercise, you can use those big list, okay? So we move on to the next one after sight word. What is the next one? Next one is sound words. Sound words are very important, because when we say it's loud, the music is loud. It's piercing. Piercing is very, you know, it's annoying. Or blaring, booming sound. The booming sound. What is the booming sound? Even when people, even gunshots, war, you have the booming sound. Also, sometimes when they demolish building, you get a booming sound. Blaring is, especially you use it for loud music, noisy, screeching, so annoying. It gives it annoys the teeth when you know, they screech the brakes. When they put the brakes, you know, suddenly, and there's a screeching sound. Crying, whispering, crackling, sizzling. Sizzling is when you pour a drop of water on, you know, boiling oil, you get the sizzling sound. Crackling is, especially when you, not the cracker sound, when you call it, when you season things when you put mustard in oil, you'll get a crackling, the small sound. There's a crackling sound. Nowadays, you get some, bubble gums also, which makes that. Now, taste words. Taste words, people, it's just delicious. So, but then we know sour, bitter, sweet, but there are more to it. Bitter, bittersweet, bland. It's a spicy, opposite bland, buttery, cheesy, crisp, fishy, fruity. These are some of the. So can you associate, what do you think this would be? This would be sweet, sweet and cool. So this is spicy. This looks like a spicy dish. And this seems to be a very bland food. And this is extremely sweet and gooey. This cake, especially the icing is called, it's gooey, like it sticks to the hand. That is an exact gooey feeling, you see? And this is crisp. These chips look crisp. So next we go on to smell words. Smell words make you feel like when you just say, when you describe your holiday, even the smell of wet earth, it has got what kind of smell it is. It is the smell of wet earth when you're walking in the forest. You can say it has got they also have a musty kind of smell. And then the smell is powerful and it can easily trigger, like some of them are earthy. They're called earthy. Okay, you can call it earthy. I would call it sometimes, because in the forest, have you all been to a forest? Sometimes you get the smell of rotten animals. That's why I said it's musty. It's rotten sometimes. Sometimes it's not fully, you don't get the direct sting. But sometimes you have fragrance also in the jungle when you pass. So earthy you can call, it's common. Fishy, fishy, fragrant. Fragrant is a perfume smell. Fresh, rotten, savory. Instead of saying tasty, it's savory. Scented, sharp. Let me just, sharp and sticky, sour, spicy. Sticky can be touch word, and it can also be can be touch word, and it can also be a smell word. Sticky. Okay, these are some of the, and they can trigger some memories, when writers use these words. But we don't, we generally use, a few common words, and that's it. So here you have a setting, okay? You have a setting of sensory words, and you're going to tell me a story, I will share on the chat box, I'll share some list of words. Here you have a big list of sensory words, and you see some of them, I just use some of them. So can you use these sensory words? See, sight words: blurry, blurred, colorless, dazzling is shining, dim. How many words do you know? Dingy, faded, faint, flashy, the bright color, flashy, faint, gaudy, glance, gleaming. These are just words. So I shall share it, and you have to, you have to describe. Try to use as many, write at least a paragraph on the picture you see using sensory words. It is just imagine that you've gone for a holiday there, okay, a paragraph, and what you ate. Even if you don't want to use that picture, you can imagine and write about a holiday you spent, the food you ate. Use all sensory words, a few of these. I shall share this with you, and can you write, or shall I keep it on the screen? You want to share? I shall share this at the end. These are some of the sensory words. Can you see them? So just, I've shared a picture with you. You can write on, this is a picture. What are the color? So what might you say? In this, what all senses? Can you tell me what all sensory words you can bring out of this even before I've already given you some. Yes, tell me a few sensory words. The color of the sea. Yes? Do you want me to share those color of the sea? Yes? This is actually Prussian blue, and this is a bottle green or peacock green. Yeah, sea green also. You can call this sea green. And this is Prussian blue. And what color is this? This is sky blue. Come on, tell me a few sight words. I have already given you. Brown. Yes? Tell me a few sight words. If this is the setting of your story and you're going to write a story, maybe on this, because you see, yesterday you had a camel. What is the young one of a camel called? What might you say using your senses? Yes, if this is the setting of your story. Yes, I want you to speak. Then we have to move on to idioms. Yes. Can you just speak or write and read out? I'll give you 10 minutes. Do you want me to? Yes. Have you seen the picture? Please. Yes. I projected the picture. You can take a picture of it and then write using these sensory words. Have all of you taken a picture of it? Yes. Please tell me what all sensory words you can use. Ahead of this, I give you a choice. Or you can also, use one of these pictures, a hill station, or a vacation that you enjoyed. So jungle safari, you need to have those words. I'll share it with you. Try to write later on, but today, write on a vacation, particularly using sensory words. I'll give you 10 minutes to write, okay? Write on a vacation you enjoyed, and here are some 10, and use all the sensory words. And I want some of you to read out, and then let's close our eyes and see if we can actually picture the sight, sound. I shall also share it on the chat box. Share some of them on the chat box. Meanwhile, I'll share them on the chat box also. Do you see them? Sight, sound, touch. Write a paragraph on a hot vacation you enjoyed. Taking these, because when you apply it and then read it, at least those words which you've tried to use maximum words. I'll share this. If you want, please take a picture of this. If you have a mobile, please take a picture of these. I shall also share this with you, and I give you 10 minutes to write, because there's no point in just reading out a list of words. I've given you a picture. You can imagine your own picture. Maybe that's not the vacation you like. You might like a vacation, in a village, or on the seaside, or in a desert. So using these sensory words, so it's not possible to take the picture. Yes, have you taken a picture of this part? I shall just share it with you. Write and read out. Have you started writing on a vacation you enjoyed? This is the picture which I am sharing, but I shall also give you the picture. I shall try to share, new share. Not new share, not this one. I'll share some of the, so start writing using sensory words. Write a paragraph on a vacation you enjoyed, and then we'll close and others will say whether they felt it. Okay, now desktop, I shall share all the colors also. Oh, you can share just one at a time. In that case, I will give you the list of sensory words first, then I'll start sending the colors, okay? Sensory words list on this. So I've come back. This is a picture you can use, and then you can come on a video if you want. You can, because expressions also matter. Colors you've taken. Do you want a picture of the colors also? You want me to share? I've given you a list of sensory words. This is a picture. So a holiday which you enjoyed using sensory words, not simple words. That's why I asked you to speak in the beginning, because there you will be using words. Now you've learned new words. Because you use as many sensory words as possible. Each one use different words, because this will get registered. And when you finish this, at the end of this session, you would have learned, you would have enriched yourself, you would have learned a few words, because these words which you are used, this is the way you have to utilize them. In the beginning, you have to, you do it forcefully. Later on, it becomes spontaneous, spontaneously you get all those words. That's the way. In the beginning, you have to put in effort, because we are learning and we connect them. You connect them to food, as I said, mnemonics. You connect them to, certain colors. Even colors. Colors, if you can open, do you want me to share them? You can just get them, shades of red. You can use, and then, and show the shade. If you can use a picture of it or a photograph of your holiday, it will be very colorful. If some of you are finished, let me know, because we have another very interesting kind of lesson. I've shared the screen. I've shared also the list. Use as many sensory. You must come on the video and speak. When you are speaking, let others get. We listen to you and see if you really feel it. We get the taste, tangy, pungent, or whatever. Or we feast our eyes to talk about the sea or the village, the fields, the greenery around. What green was that? See, the color of, the field is different from the color of sea. But we say green for all, or blue. If you're finished, you tell me, because we have to move on to the next one also.
I've written something about the beach picture.
Okay, beach picture. Who's that?
Sadia.
Sadia, can you come on the video and speak?
Ma'am, unfortunately, I can't. I have allergies. That's why I'm in a bad
condition. Yes. Okay, speak.
The vibrant blue color of the clear sky is slightly fading into the horizon below. The horizon, which turns into teal waves of the sea underneath. The camels are grunting afar amidst the beach umbrellas, which are dancing with the winds. That's it.
Very good. So very good. How many? You just written a few lines, right? How many? So that's good about the picture. So how many sensory words did you learn today?
Ma'am, a lot actually.
A lot.
That you shared.
So this is a way, there's no point in just reading, because it'll go above your head. So when you listen to others also, you keep using. I've given you a big list. So when you're writing, even when you're describing, writing a descriptive essay, use these words. They are, they make your writing very clear and more appealing. Yes. Because even, like, they use it for business. In every way, your language will get enriched, because it's vocabulary. It's not just describing. As I said, we try to describe the spoke, but then if you have the sensory, take up some of the sensory words and try to describe an umbrella. Even shapes, colors, all of them come under it. But when you talk about appearance, there's no time, otherwise I would have shared. I have a lot of PPTs and videos which I made on appearance, describing people, describing places. That's where you need sensory words. And very often we have to describe, especially when you go outside to the native speakers' land, when you use these sensory words, they know that you are different from the others. But generally, people who are not native speakers, they use simpler words, and they don't find our language clear, because they use figurative language, they speak in idiomatic language. So that's what we're going to learn next. Because when you go outside, especially the US and especially to UK, the native land, they use a lot of idiomatic and sensory language because they know most of them have this, they use sensory words. And when you might not understand because they use the heather, the color. It's a color, the heather shade. So you might wonder what it is. So we just know mauve. Mauve, we know it's mauve. We know only a few colors, but we should know the different shades so that people, when you want to describe, and you're writing for an international audience, not just for, for your classmates when you're writing a book or something. So you need to have sensory words. Without that, you cannot write properly. You need to have, of course, grammar and all. Yes, who's the next person? You're going to describe your vacation. Come on, quickly, we'll stop it now. We can stop whoever has written. You can send it to me. Okay, you all, V Kumari, I'll share my email ID, vkumari@amity.edu. One or two more can read and we move on to the next topic. Yes. Yes, anybody else? You can discuss, at least discuss a vacation you have. Keep the sensory word list. I asked you to write because, are you still writing? Anybody else writing? Yes, Ananya? Anshika? Muskan, are you there? Kirti, who all are there? Sadia, to which department do you belong? What are you studying?
English honors.
English.
The English
Yes.
department.
Okay, you're also from the English. Yeah, who is that? Who's going to read?
Ma'am Bubbly,
Okay, please read.
it seems like I'm witnessing the union of the sky and the sea. Everything seemed to be complementing each other's imperfection. The arid desert seems to be quenched by the fathomless sea, and the camels, chaperoning the burning grid, finds comfort in the sea, where the umbrella gave me the shade and helped me get all these picturesque thoughts.
Wow, that's something very good, very good. And did you use some sensory words from the list? Yes, yes.
Ma'am, I don't know, like I did not see them.
Now, who is that Galaxy M51? Your name, please?
Ma'am Bubbly.
Bubbly. So with that, this is what your sensory words, they help, they appeal to the senses. And when you use them, your writing becomes enriched.
Bubbly
Yes?
Kumari from first year, our first year.
What did you say, Tanu? Your voice is not clear.
Ma'am, I said she is a first year student, BA English honors,
Oh,
first year.
she writes. Well, what about other department students? Any other department students here, please? Because I want you to learn sensory words. Now, yes.
Second semester.
Second semester.
Yes.
That's good.
She writes
So you feel that you have learned something new. You got a big list. So when you write, start writing every day. Yes, anybody else? Not on the picture, on a vacation you enjoyed. Take the list and use those words and tell me about a vacation you went, what you ate. Quickly, before I move on to the next topic, that is idioms. Yes? Somebody is raising. Who is going to just speak about a vacation you enjoyed? Who is going to speak? Yes? Anyone from other department? Okay, so we move on to the next. So sensory words, they help you in your writing, especially because they make your descriptions clear and they appeal to your senses, so they make it very interesting. That's why writers, especially when they write a novel or an essay, if you use sensory words, it has more it'll attract more people. It explains everything very clearly. So sensory words, they enrich your language. And then we go on to something else which also gives you, makes your language, which has the same function, but it is different. Sensory words are directly what you see, smell, touch, hear, and taste. And then when you write any, these 5 words are very much essential when you describe or when you write anything in your writing. After this, we go on to the term. Let's go on. Okay, you write and send it to me. My email, you can search Vinaya Kumari in amity.edu. You will get my name, send it to me. I would love to read. And I would like to, imagine the vacation which you enjoyed, because we need to finish idioms, and there is a quiz also. So now I am really going bananas at the very thought of what's a banana actually? What's a banana? It's a fruit. But when I say I'm going bananas at the very thought of reading those, those essays about your holidays, you're going to use words that are spicy. I would say spicy. I'm just mixing up the words. So now, why am I saying when I go bananas means here, I mean I'm excited. So what do you understand by idiom, idiomatic phrase? What is an idiomatic phrase? Why do we need to use it? Why do we need to use idiomatic phrase? Number one, if you plan to go abroad to the native land, mind you, they use more of idiomatic language than plain English. So you won't follow what they're saying unless, and if you use, you also respond to them the way they speak, again, you stand out, you will be head and shoulders above the rest. What do you mean by head and shoulders above the rest? You will stand out, right? The only way to acquire the skill is to keep practicing. Use them. The problem with us is we don't, even in the university, I don't hear students speaking in English. They speak to each other in Hindi. But then when you have to have, English language, because it's not, we don't find much of English around, though it's an official language, but you have to keep practicing, for native speakers, it comes spontaneously, but for us, we have to keep practicing. I could speak Arabic fluently. Language is one thing, but you have to keep practicing. I could speak Arabic fluently, but recently when I tried to speak, I was fumbling for words because it's nearly 3 years since I used that language. So it comes through practice only. Writing, if I can give you a list of words, sensory words, but then you have to write, use them in the form of, enjoying, for describing, enjoying a vacation. When I read, I'm waiting to read your essays, and I would go deep into it. I would, also, go deep, as I said, I would be transported to your world, to your vacation. I should experience that vacation. That's why I'm going bananas. Okay, please send your essay or your write-up on your wonderful vacation and use as many sensory words as you can, because sensory words cannot be expressed in all you can do is, they are sensory. They should be shown and you should hear them. You should listen to them. So when you listen, you see the word blurry, you try to get the sound of it. You get, everything is available, blurry, and then try to understand them and use them. Try to write one page of a vacation or your holiday and send this vacation essay or write up to me. I'm waiting for it because, as I said, I'm going bananas. So idioms are words. For example, if I say adding fuel to the fire, when you add fuel to the fire, what happens? It flares up. Again, I'm using sensory words. It flares up. So it becomes dangerous. So sometimes it becomes dangerous. So when you say add fuel to fire, make any small matter even worse. So add fuel to literally it means adding fuel, but here in an idiomatic language, it means that you already there is a problem and you are adding to it. For example, if someone is depressed, so try to make the person happy by making him forget. Instead, if a person has lost a pair, you go on talking about your parent, how you lost and the tragedy. You make him cry. You make him sob, weep out loudly. So you're adding fuel to the fire. Already he's depressed. So instead, you can say that you can slowly bring him out of his depression by talking of something more pleasant. So this is called adding fuel to the fire. So here we go. What do you learn? So why do we learn idiomatic phrases? Again, it enriches your language. And there are, as we have learned descriptive words, then sensory words. Sometimes none of these, are enough. When you say that, for example, I just gave you a, example now, when I said that adding fuel to the fire, it means you are making matters worse, right? By adding on with your comments or what. So that has more effect than, because we sometimes, this descriptive words are not enough. Your description is not enough. So that's why they use idiomatic phrases. And you go, as I said, you'll be head and shoulders above the rest. They'll have a special respect for you. They say, oh boy, he's one of us, or she's one of us. It's exactly what they're very frank. They'll exactly, they get a feeling. And, I'm not being a racist, but that's the way it is. They use, it's called inculturation. When you go to a different land, most of you are planning to go to the US or UK or Australia to study abroad, right? For study abroad program. So when you mingle with the native speakers, so you should, when you're in Rome, you be like, it's called inculturation. You have to accept their culture, their way of talking. Language, culture is embedded in language. And this is the way they speak. They use a lot of idiomatic language. And we should also use, right, as students of English or students of other subjects, because all of you have English communication skills. So after this lesson, you will be able to define what's an idiom. Idioms are words which have totally different meaning from their literal sense. They are figurative at the same, but the meaning sometimes the word going bananas. Now, banana is a fruit. It has nothing to do with going bananas. How they coined the word, this phrase, we don't know. But it means I'm very excited. So define, and you identify the idioms in the text. Idiomatic phrases you will be able to, because suddenly you will find a strange phrase, which you might not, you'll have to look up the dictionary to know the meaning, because then you know that it's an idiom or idiomatic phrase, and then you know the meaning it conveys. There's a hidden meaning. So you recognize and understand the meanings of idioms, because you're also going to do a quiz. So let's also indulge in a conversation using idioms. Okay, idiomatic games, we can say. Okay, then recognize and understand and create your own idiom story using Story Jumper. Now, here you are. In this session, we learn about idioms, those colorful figures of speech. As yesterday I told you, parts of speech. We thought that we know a lot. No, we have a long way to go. Not way to go, a long way. Way to go means good. But we are just at the beginning. We are, you and I feel I have not learned enough. I want to master all those sensory words. I might not know. So I want to learn more idioms. My, knowledge of idioms, not enough. So we have to keep learning. So those colorful figures of speech that play with language. and take on a meaning of their own. Use your noodle. Somebody says, use your noodle, don't look for noodles around. You go there, don't go and look for noodles around. Oh, it's just a piece of cake. If you master the idioms, then you conversing with a native speaker will be a piece of cake. Or clearing your IELTS exam will be a piece of cake when you use, in the conversation, if you use idiomatic language, even in writing. In writing, it's more of concrete, a different kind of writing, but in the conversation, one or two idioms, if you use one or two idioms, you get a very high score because it enriches your language. So now, an idiom is an expression in the usage of a language takes on a figurative meaning. So it's not the direct meaning, it means totally different. When certain words are conjoined, give it, totally new meaning. As one example is going banana. You say head and shoulders above it. Generally, when I asked for the first time in the class, in some classes, they said the tallest. There's a tallest, but they never even thought that this person is the best, the topper or the best, the most intelligent, the best. So then our words are conjoined to give it a totally new meaning that has no connection to the literal definition of the individual words. For example, let's say, oh my, going out to eat in a restaurant will cost an arm and a leg. And this is something which is very common. What is an arm and a leg? It's not arm and a leg. It's not just arm, is an arm and a leg. It means it's very expensive. Okay. So it means the cost. This is a figurative meaning. Now I'll ask you a quiz quickly before yes. What do you mean, I take up, what do you mean by hit the pillow? Hit the pillow. Can someone tell me what? No, don't look up. Quickly, hit the pillow. Generally when you say hit the pillow, it means beating the pillow. That means I'm very sleepy, I'm going to sleep. So these are some of the words which we start. Normally, we obviously won't associate words, arm and a leg, when it is on its own or as anything other than limbs of a body. If you don't know idioms, arm and a leg, they would generally, if you go and talk to, people who haven't studied idioms, you're the lucky few who studied. You go and talk, it would cost an arm and a leg, even to the shop, in a shop, or to anyone, any layman who knows English. Because if you can speak a little bit of English, they are masters in English. You say it costs, so they would just think of arm and a leg. They would picture only an arm and a leg, but it has got a different meaning. So you try it, you try those idioms. I'll give you a practical exercise. Use these idioms, these others. So I'm going bananas. Just look at the, bewildered, perplexed expression. You'll really enjoy it. I tried it. I really tried it. And you'll have fun. Do that and share that experience with me, because again, I'm going bananas. Okay. And now normally we obviously wouldn't use associate. That's right. There are tens of thousands of idioms used in English language. Imagine tens of thousands, not just a few. Here we can just learn a few, but you have to learn tens of thousands of idioms. So how much of effort? If you have an interest and you try this, there's another way. Take 10 idioms, learn them and use them in context with your brothers, your sisters. Every day play an idiomatic. So let's start that. Okay, we'll play an idiomatic. Some of you will talk using idiomatic language and ask the other person what it means. Okay, so as we can probably understand, idioms are difficult for people whose first language is not English. That's what I said. We are not native speakers. That's why it becomes fun when you go and ask. Then you also train them. They wouldn't have known that there's something like an idiom. So, knowledge is free. Educating people, you're not going to lose anything when you have some fun also. Try it. Okay. Even native English speakers in the motherland of England have a hard time with American idioms. You have two types of idioms. Americans know them because they are common expressions. We are used to hearing them in our homes, at school, and in our favorite television programs. Nowadays we watch a lot of American, so we are used to it. If you watch American film, then you will and you will get some knowledge of idioms they use profusely. Sometimes American idioms make their way around the world, and sometimes an expression doesn't even make it out of a particular state. Here are the few most commonly used idioms in the United States. So let's not go more into that. Let's learn some alphabetical. So here, we learn them in the alphabetical order. Because as I said, there are tens of thousands. So we will take a few here and have some fun. And a blessing in disguise, meaning a good thing that usually is. Now, how can you explain a blessing in disguise? For example, some of you would say, I wanted to become a doctor, the medical doctor, but then unfortunately, owing to some reason, you didn't score at the entrance exam. And then you take an English literature at Amity. You get a chance to go for a study abroad program. Someone spots. You never knew that your English is good. Was so appealing because you're learning idiomatic language and you're playing idiomatic games with your family and friends and whomever you're going to meet, you're going to play whoever knows English, play an idiomatic game. This is a way, keep the list, so learn a new idiom and use it around. So then you never know that without your knowledge, you've accumulated a lot of idioms in your noodles. Okay, so I'm just using that word noodle in your head. So then he finds you, and you're given a special kind of a job or an opening, a new opening. They ask you to edit, or so then it's a blessing in disguise. You might become someone famous, or you got into an MBA. So it's a blessing in disguise. Now you see what the doctors, sad. It's sad for them, right? Doctors have to toil. Being a doctor is good. It's a noble profession. Then it's not so easy to come up becoming a successful doctor. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry doesn't become a successful doctor. You have to struggle. So here, to say, it was a cakewalk to you. A nice opening. They gave you an opening in a publishing house or some good job opening. Or you've gone for a study or abroad program at the fag end or the end of your master program, master degree or a graduation degree, and you got a job. So it's a big blessing. And there you've started your own, something of your own, because you become very creative when you learn English. So that creativity can be utilized for advertisement for many fields. Maybe you speak, maybe you become a good speaker or a storyteller. So you become famous. You never know. So that is called a blessing in disguise. A dime a dozen, something that is very common. So can you use a sentence, a dime a dozen? Yes, can you use it in a sentence? No, I don't wait for me to explain. A dime a dozen. Can you use it in a sentence quickly? Yes? It's very common, not unique. Yeah? So you'll find, you find them everywhere. A dime a dozen. A dime a dozen, a dime is a coin, a currency, and a dozen is 12. But it makes it just, how can you use? They're all, yes. You find them, they're all a dime a dozen. What the stray dogs? Oh, they want, they like Indian pie dogs. They call them pie dogs. This breed, which you find the stray dog, is called Pi dogs. Actually, one of my friends asked, do you have those Pi dogs? They're so cute because they have such cute poodles. Oh, you find them a dime a dozen on the streets. You don't have to buy them because the dogs are expensive. You have to pay to buy a dog or a puppy. Because you find them, you come in India, you find them, but then you can't send them. You know, they find the stray dog. These are called Pi dogs. The breed is Pi dog, but we call them stray dog. We don't have a value, but they like these Pi dogs. So you say you find them a dime a dozen on the streets. You can just pick one of them. And here they're killing them, right? Adding insult to the injury, meaning to make bad situation even, as I told you, adding fuel to the fire, adding insult to the injury, especially when you use that, when someone is hurt. For example, if a person, gets, or someone mocks at a person, and then you go and tell, that's okay. When, a person has performed at a musical concert and somewhat, at that day his performance went all wrong. And then people mock and throw tomatoes at him. And then you go and say, oh, your voice was so coarse. What happened? There was some technical glitch. You are adding insult to the injury. So now I want you to say, now I'll just start with it. And the meanings are clear. I want you to make sentences. Because if I keep learning. Beat around the bush, everybody knows. Come on, tell me a good punchy sentence with beat around the bush. When you're asked to write short notes or you're given word limit, write to the point, don't beat around the bush. Or for your exams, you have to write answer to the point or to the question which is asked. You don't beat around the bush. Or sometimes when you're explaining something, you don't come directly to the, because if you don't know idiom, if you don't know sensory words, sometimes you might have to beat around the bush when you're trying to write about a vacation abroad or vacation to the seaside. Beating a dead horse. Come on now, what is beating a dead horse? Yes, meaning don't beat a dead horse, giving time or energy to something that is ended or over. Have you heard of this idiom before? Do not beat a dead horse. Let bygones be bygones. Can you give me another idiom? Yes? Can someone give me another idiom? As I told you, let bygones be bygones. Don't beat a dead horse. Yes? Can you make a sentence? Next is bite a bullet. It means to get an unfavorable situation occur over and now because it will need to get finished eventually. So you're biting, we are going to bite because we missed a lot of classes, but it's not unpleasant. So let's say an unpleasant, the doctors are biting a bullet to get over this pandemic because it is unpleasant for them to see people dying. So when it is an unpleasant and very tedious kind of show, to tending to the sick or taking care of patients is the doctor's duty. But it becomes unpleasant during the pandemic, you see. So they are biting the bullet, right? So next, best of both worlds. Now I want you to explain. Best meaning the choice of a solution has all advantage of two contrasting things at the same time. Yes, you get the best. Like you can say that when you want, you kill two, but they're not exactly the same. Killing two birds with one stone, it has a stone, it is connected to it, but it's different. Best of both worlds in the sense, suppose you're a musician and a writer. No, if you're a professor and if you're good at writing and you become an eminent professor and a good writer, famous writer, you have the best of both worlds. This is one example I can give. Can you give some example of best of both worlds? Yes. Yes. The choice or solution that has, but then writing and this has got, it has got, for example, a working woman who is very comfortable, no, she is contrast the work and home. But if she's got all the comforts and a maid, so she gets the best of both the worlds. This is one example. Can you give me can someone, even the faculty also can give me, can you give me an example of best of both worlds? Bite the bullet. I think the doctors, what they're going on, the nurses, they're going on there, it's not their routine work. They are facing a kind of, the pandemic, which is so tragic and so frightening, so eerie, so unpleasant. So now you see, best of both worlds. No one, yes, because you're going now, after this, you're going to write something, you're going to speak using idioms, you're going to tease each other. Biting off more than you can chew. Look at that. What you've seen? Yes. You got any?
Ma'am, we can use it as a blessing also, like, to give someone kind of, if a woman, who was a housewife once and now is working, so we can tell her, give her a blessing that may you get the best of both worlds.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Who is that?
Ma'am, bubbly.
Bubbly. Okay. Biting off more than you can chew. So you see the picture. What are they doing? Yes. Oh, yeah, they're trying to eat a pig. So, but the literal meaning, this is the literal meaning, what you see here. That's the literal meaning. But this is something.
Hello, ma'am.
Not, that is a literal meaning, but idiomatic meaning is not having the capacity to take a new aside. Like some of them, you take a lot of things together, but then you're not able to complete or accomplish even one task first. That's why they say do one at a time or do what you can up to your limit, know your limit. But if you bite off more than you can chew, then you end up in a disaster. Yes. Somebody was trying to speak. Yes, tell me. I want you.
Ma'am, can I give another example of best of two worlds?
Yes. Huh.
Okay. So she is so lucky that she got best of. She's so lucky that she got best of both worlds in her life. That is before marriage and after marriage. Like before marriage, she got a caring parents, and after marriage she got a caring husband.
Very good. All of you are really very active and enthusiastic. I like the spirit. Now tell me, okay, you tell me, you're Bilal. What's your name? Bill?
Nihal.
Nihal, can you tell me an example? Give me an example of biting off more than you can chew.
Okay, in hotels, you should avoid the habit of biting off too much more than you can chew, because resources, money belongs to you, but resources belongs to society.
You mean in a figurative way, right? Okay, but not the food. The food it has nothing to do with food. It has to do like you take up too many assignments or tasks and you say, okay, you're given, oh yeah, I'll do that. You think that you want to, for example, just to impress your boss, you say, I'll take up this task. And then you don't want others to do, then that's called like you can't do it, you don't accomplish, you don't let others do. What is a word? Can you give me an idiom for that? Can someone give me an idiom? You don't want or you cannot do something, you don't want others also to enjoy or do it, or same if you're taking tasks which you cannot accomplish in time, nor do it perfectly. And what happens? You don't let others also do. So there's an idiom, there's a connecting idiom. Can you tell me? They call it a dog in the manger. There's a big story behind it. It's about the dog in the manger. The dog in the manger is a person who won't enjoy himself, won't let others also get the benefit. Can you give me? So this is not there. So when you talk of one idiom, so biting off more than you chew. I'm giving you an example. There's a person in an office who wants to say, he doesn't want others to, he wants to impress the boss. He'll take up all this, I'll do this, I'll be, for everything he wants to do. He wants to put his finger in everything. But then what happens? He doesn't do things in time, or he cannot accomplish even one task perfectly. Because the pressure builds up and then what happens? The quality of work goes down, and there are others who are idle and enjoying, so the balance also is upset, right? So that is biting off more than. Can you give me some other example? Biting has nothing to do with food. It is like doing more than what you can. You have a limit, right? If you take up too many tasks.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I can give another example.
Very good.
Like, like I would like to say, in government offices, it's very rare to see a person with the habit of biting off too much more than he can chew.
Okay, okay, that's very good. So now what about the dog in the manger? Can you give an example
Well,
of
you
dog?
can, well, its literal meaning can be, incompetent person in an organization, a dog in a major.
Why? Because he is incompetent and he doesn't want others also to.
Yes. He is
okay,
actually
so-
he's very jealous of seeing other competent persons. That's why, he is not letting others to do the work.
Yes, okay.
That will show his own incompetence.
Incompetent, very good. By the skin of your teeth, just barely making it. This you can give a good example, right? Just barely. Did you complete your paper? Oh, this, uploading takes such a long. Somehow I managed to finish by the skin of my teeth. It's barely managed to finish because there was a pressure of uploading. So by the skin of your teeth, it really means that the skin around your teeth, on your jaws. But see the meaning. By the skin of your teeth means just look at the picture also. You see, say you barely make it. So can you give me another example of by the skin?
Yes, ma'am, I can try.
Try, please.
Okay, the example of by the skin of your teeth would be England won 2019 Cricket World Cup by the skin of their teeth. Are you interested in cricket?
Yes,
Then only you can get this example.
Okay, I give it to you. Yeah, okay. Or they managed.
Because it will need cricket knowledge.
By the skin of their teeth, they won't. Okay. Or you can say they managed to win by the. If at all they win, they'll win by the skin of their teeth. If at all they come even in the runner-up, it will be by the skin of their teeth.
No, ma'am. I can explain how it would be the perfect example of by the skin of its teeth, by the skin of their teeth. Okay, generally what happens in cricket, if the scores are level after the match, like in ODI, the matches are of 50-50 overs, right? So suppose by the end of 100 overs, the scores are level. Then what happens that the match officials conduct a super over, like they give 1 over to each team, and whoever scores more runs in that particular over, they will win, right? So in Cricket World Cup final, 2019 Cricket World Cup final, the scores were level after 50-50 overs. And the scores will level even after the end of super overs. Like even in both teams were allotted 1-1 over, and even in that by the end of 1-1 over, the scores were level. And how England were declared the winners was by the use of boundary count. Like first they counted the total number of runs hit through sixes. And you can see even both the teams scored equal number of sixes. Both the teams hit equal number of sixes. Now they counted the number of fours, and in the number of fours, England was just slightly ahead. Like they scored one more four from New Zealand. So just they won the Cricket World Cup through the boundary count, and that's why it was so controversial. Because how can you declare the winner by the use of boundary count?
Yeah, the same.
So I think it was.
Very good.
It
So,
was a perfect example of by the skin of
in 1985, we won by the skin of our teeth. Just one, we needed just one, to wait, not one or two, and then the batsman he hit a 4 and we won. There was last one ball left, and if we don't make that one run, we would lose, but he hit a 4. Took a risk, not a 4, a 6. A 6 means you can't catch it even, right? Otherwise you get caught. There was a time we used to watch, I was very much a fan, but my time, we didn't have this test, we did have, later on it came. In the 70s, I was Lloyd. Have you heard of Clive Lloyd? Oh my God, they came to India. We used
Yes,
to
ma'am.
even school and go, bunk school and go to the stadium to watch him. And they kept on hitting sixer. So let's come back to the topic. That's a very good, example you've given. We'll go to more idioms. Caught between the rock and a hard place means making a choice between two unpleasant. Making two. So now there is another idiom also. Caught between the devil and the Dead Sea. Making two. And so when it is caught between the rock and the hard place means making two choices, two unpleasant choices. We say that which politician, I'm not connected to any political party, which politician is better? You say this one is a better devil. Both are devils, the better devil. Similarly, so it's unpleasant to make there are choices which are unpleasant. So caught between the rock and the hard place means there are two unpleasant choices. So which one to make? Because whatever you make, look at the figure. So can you give an example? It's caught between the rock and the hard place. Cost an arm and a leg? Yes, as you said. Anything is very expensive, you can say cost. Caught between the rock. Come on, others also think. There are two choices which you want. So you are asked to say you're given two choices, but there's no other way. You don't like both, but you have to make one choice. So there are situations like that. So when you say, "Oh, I'm caught between the rock and a hard place." Rock is also hard and the place is also hard. So
example would be, I would like to give example from my own state, Bihar.
Yes.
So example would be generally in middle class families after 12th, students are given the choice of rock and the hard. Like either they have to choose being an engineer or they have to choose being a doctor. There are no other choices.
Right.
So both the choices, you can say they are tough. So
exactly, you
cannot just say my passion is photography, so I want to become a photographer. No one is going to listen to you.
Yes, that's good. So cutting corners, not performing a task or duty correctly in order to save time or money. So you say in this business, we don't cut corners. We mean business, we are perfect. Cutting corners is being, substandard, doing, not performing a task or duty correctly in order to. So, like when let's take a tailor's job. You want to save time and money, and in Hindi you call it jugaad. You do something just to put on a show, because you don't want to perform any task perfectly because you want to save time or money or something. So, if you want to save money, sometimes for saving money. When you're too niggardly is another word for miserly. What is miserly? Conjuice means who doesn't like. Another word is niggardly. Learn new words, niggardly or too miserly. So what you do, you don't do anything for you don't want to spend or make your house look good because you're cutting corners. You want to save money. So you compromise. Sometimes people compromise on nutritious diet. Life is for living. That you go on scrounging, you go on, thinking of money and saving. You don't eat well. You don't you know, so that is called your cutting corners. This is one thing. Or even for saving time, sometimes to save time, you know, you don't perform your task well. So you can think of examples. You can ask each other. Don't judge a book by its cover. So it means don't. Sometimes a person may look just ordinary, you know, but you never know. Don't just by the external appearance. Don't think by one look, you know, initial appearance. There is a saying that the first impression is the best impression. Do you believe in it? But sometimes they say you don't make, because we tend to be judgmental. We have certain prejudices. We have certain bias within us, or we have certain fixed notions, notation, ideas. So we tend to be judgmental and we make wrong impression. We get wrong impression about people, but they're not. So you can give good, you can ask each other after this. Okay, I'll share the PPT with you. Do something at the drop of a hat means, okay, can you get me a marker? I can't, but don't take time. Oh yes, at a drop of a hat. Oh, you know, at a drop of a hat means within a short period of time. You know, in 1 second you say, but instead of that you say at a drop of, there's no connection with the literal meaning. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. That means we plan, we think of, even before we start a business, we think, okay, we'll start a business. And then we already, yeah, it's good to dream, but you should realize the dream by working hard. There's so much of labor behind it, right? Like you say, at the tip of the iceberg, you see a successful man. But how many falls he would have had? There's a picture I made students ask, you know, so there's another word. Tip of the iceberg means what you see. So again, do something don't count your chickens before they hatch. It's a story about a woman who, you know, who went to sell eggs, was walking. She started dreaming that once she sells, she'll get money, she'll buy more, she'll buy some chicken, and then they lay eggs, she'll buy, and then she'll sell more eggs, she'll have a poultry farm that will develop into a big farm. She becomes rich, and then the richest people would come and ask for her hand. She's just an ordinary maid going to sell eggs. So, an farm maid. So then she said, I would say no, and then she would leave her hand loose and the eggs will fall. This came out of this story. Each idiom has a story. Well, we can't go deep into it. I'm giving you one story. So don't count your chickens before they hatch. You have to use these words. When you say that, okay, don't dream too much. We usually say, don't dream. Let it happen. So we tend to think of the outcome, but don't expect things to be positive always. Like you count your chickens before we counted we thought that, okay, the pandemic is over. But then the second wave has come, right? Because we thought that, okay, now we just quickly inoculate everyone and we'll be safe. Then we counted the chickens before they hatch. There comes another pandemic, another wave, which is more intense than the first one. So this is one example. And the devil's advocate means to take the side of the counter argument or the alternate point of view. Okay, take the side means the other viewpoint. So I'm devil's advocate is another term. When you hear the word, don't think of devil. You're taking the reverse opinion in your or the other point of view. Now, feeling under the weather. Nowadays, people are feeling under the weather means not feeling well, feeling sick. So when you hear this term, when you go abroad, sometime, I'm feeling, they generally say, how if I'm feeling under the weather? But then you think under the weather. So something, have you heard of this term before? Have you heard of this term, Nihal? Feeling under the weather before? Nihal?
Yes, ma'am. I have read in one novel.
Which novel is that? You can't get it. Very good. That's what I'm saying. When you read, you have the habit of reading, you will come across. But did you understand the meaning?
In Richard Flanagan's The Living Sea of Waking Dreams, I have read the word that you have just pronounced. So it was kind of, it was kind of, I just remembered like, yes, I have heard this word before.
Feeling under the weather means I'm sick. And nowadays, most of them are feeling under the weather because of this COVID. Fit, opposite fit as a fiddle means in good health. He is fit as a fiddle. So these are, this also you've heard. Okay, getting the taste of your own medicine. Look at that. These are
It's
pictures.
a very common word, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Getting the second wind, having, getting energized, then giving the benefit of a doubt means believing a story. Okay, it means you just believe a person without trying to investigate anything, because without getting any evidence or proof, you believe that. You say, okay, I'll give him the benefit of a doubt. Let's give the person a benefit. If someone comes to a salesman, tries to convince you that this, so then you say, okay, let's buy one. We'll give him the benefit of a doubt. Means you don't want to investigate further. Let's try it out, and you believe him and you buy. So this is called, this is where you use. Give someone a cold shoulder means ignore someone. So you have to use these words. How many of you use these idiomatic phrases? So you go and tell your brother, I'm going to give you a cold shoulder. What would he think? Yes, Nihal or whoever, anyone else? Suppose you go today, go and tell, I'm going to give you a cold shoulder. What do you think he would think? Yes, give someone a cold shoulder means to ignore. So, but he wouldn't understand, right? So try these games, because when you actually practically use them, they'll be, and going on a wild goose chase, meaning doing something that is pointless. You go on a wild goose chase, something, which has no outcome. You do something which has got no result or no point. You think that you'll gain something out of it, but it's like going on a wild goose chase. Can I give an example of going on? Yes, I want you to think, going on a wild goose chase. Think. Heard it on the grapevine. Grapevine, everyone knows in gossip. So instead of saying, how do you know? You give some, you break a pleasant news or an unpleasant news. You can't pinpoint. You can just say, I heard it here. Instead of that, the app.
It means, ma'am, we are changing something difficult. Like you are trying to complete some difficult task. Like we are trying to change some goal that is not very easy for everyone. That can be meant by changing a wild.
Very good. For example, a scientist, tries to find out, research and find a new finding. Then you say it's like going on a wild goose chase, because he goes on doing this to several experiments, or trying out, and he doesn't get. So it's like going on a wild goose chase. You're not reaching anywhere. That's very good.
Yes,
so
you can say 1 year back, developing vaccines for COVID was a wild changing a wild goose thing for even for scientists.
Very good. That's heard it on a grapevine. Instead of saying I heard it from some gossip, I heard it generally. There's a rumor. So you can just say I heard it from the grapevine. You don't know. You get some kind of news. Oh, did you know that there's going to be another lockdown? Who told you? No, I heard it in the grapevine. So hitting the nail on the head means performing the task with the exactness. It means doing something perfectly. You hit the nail on the head. So hit the nail on the head, it doesn't mean hitting. It means doing the task, with exactness, doing it correctly, exactly how it is. Killing two birds with one stone means accomplishing two tasks at the same time. Okay. And the next one, letting someone off the hook. See, I'm sure most of you haven't heard any. Means not holding someone responsible for something. So can you give me some example? You just let someone off the hook. Holding someone off. For example, a politician who has or committed a lot of crimes, but then he goes scot-free and he's not held responsible. So he was left off the hook, maybe due to his political influence or his contacts. So you're not holding anyone responsible for it. Okay, letting someone off the hook means not blaming or holding someone responsible. Letting the cat out of the bag. That's if you have a secret, if it comes out unawares, you let the cat. The cat is out of the bag. So you sometimes a slip of the tongue, by sometimes without even being aware, you some truth comes out. So that means there's a secret which you have been sharing. So sharing an information that was supposed to be secret, but sometimes unintentionally it comes out. So you let, the cat is out of the bag. We call it, the cat. We can also say the cat is out of the bag. Okay. No pain, no gain. That means instead of saying you have to work hard, unless you just say no pain, no gain. For any achievement, you need to work hard. Look how hard. Actually, this was an animated video. I converted into PPT. This is actually the rhinoceros is trying to walk on a moving court. Okay. On the ball, doing a good job, being prompt and being responsible. That waiter is on the ball, or this worker is on the ball, which is good. So this is a word, on the ball. Don't be surprised. Yes.
Ma'am, there can be another word for on the ball, like on a roll. Doing a tremendous work. We often use the word on a roll. Yeah, on the roll.
On the ball here means only, doing a good job, or you're on the ball, you're being successful in what you have done. So you're on the ball. You can use it in that context. So doing something very perfectly and doing well, you say he's on the ball. How is a new assistant? He's on the ball. Instead of saying means on the ball, he's perfect. His work is good. Once in a blue moon means very rarely. So I want you to use these words. A piece of cake is something which is easy. This we use very often, right? Pulling someone's leg is not literally pulling your leg. Look like what this mouse is doing. Pulling someone's leg means, have you heard of this before? I'm just pulling your leg means, this is a very simple idiom, means I'm joking. I'm just joking. Okay? You can use these words, these phrases. Speak of the devil. That's a common thing. When you talk about someone and the person appears, we say, speak of the devil, and the devil appears. Just like, it's just it's used just for fun. So when a person you're just talking about arrives, speak of the devil. It's a word which you use, in this context only. Stealing someone's thunder. It happens very often. Meaning taking credit for someone else's. Someone toils and then suddenly the other person comes and takes the credit for it. And it happens very often everywhere. So this, instead of saying, we did and other person, stealing someone. He's stealing, you can imagine, he stole this one's thunder. So steal someone's thunder means you don't do the work, but someone else does and you take the credit. That is called stealing someone's thunder. Straight from the horse's mouth. Now, it's right opposite to what we said. When it's yes, straight from the horse's mouth. Who told you? We say a particular person who is responsible. We say from tomorrow, we are going to work from home. We're going to start work from home. Or we're going to start physical classes. Who said that? I heard it in the grapevine, means it's there. But you say that, no, we got a mail from the HR. So that is from the horse's mouth. It's not literally from his mouth. If it's come from the HR, it is done. Or the HOI told, anything to do with the department matter, we got the mail from the HOI. So it is from the horse's mouth. It is an authority or the authentic source. There is a source who is responsible. Okay. The last straw, that means you got to use all this in context. Okay. The last straw. That's the last difficulty, annoyance that makes the entire situation unbearable. So you're in a kind of a turbulent relationship or a toxic relationship with your friend or your partner or someone. And then you wait for one more thing, which is so annoying that you can't bear it anymore. You say, this is the last straw, we split. So you can't bear it anymore. So this is called last straw, okay? The elephant in the room means a problem that someone is trying to avoid. Sometimes you see when you have television view people, you ask them, you ask them about pandemic, but then they haven't done much about it. Those who respond, so they'll try to avoid, and they try to. So this is called an elephant. There is an elephant in the room. Can you use it in a context? This is an issue. They don't want to speak. So you say the pandemic is an elephant in the room. Where? To some politicians. Politicians find the pandemic as an elephant in the room because it's a problem which they want to avoid. But they want to criticize, but something which you cannot do, a problem which you cannot solve. This is one example I'm giving. There are many other examples also which you're trying to avoid, So that problem is something, it's called an elephant in the room. Throwing caution to the wind, meaning being reckless or not caution and taking risk. By driving so recklessly, you're throwing caution to the wind. Or I threw caution to the wind and sped up. I went on 100 miles, speed and reached because I need to reach the stadium in time. So throwing caution to the wind, you're willing to take risks, and there can be other. I'm giving you some examples. I want you to give examples because, okay, now we are snowball effect, meaning something that has gained momentum and builds on each other, much like a rolling snowball. Okay, suddenly something which has gone slow, which has been going slowly, suddenly it picks up. Oh, there's a snowball effect, like the cricket game. No one scores in any inning. Suddenly, one person starts, hitting sixers. You say there's a snowball effect. An apple a day keeps it. It means any fruit is healthy. This is a general saying. Burning bridges, damaging a relationship beyond repair. Now he has burned bridges, and now we're going to divorce. What happened? What happened to the? Where's your wife? Oh, we have burned bridges long time ago. Now we are divorced. Every dog has its day, means everyone gets a chance sometime or the other in life. So we are coming to an end of it. Fit as a fiddle, we have done 20 familiar Indian. These are familiar idioms. Go down in the flames mean to fall in a spectacular manner. Can you give an example? Quickly, this time is running. I have a quiz also. To fail in a spectacular manner. Yes? You can't say a politician or, who has been famous, very sure that he would win and he loses. And then you say, oh, he's gone down. His career has gone down in a very, visible manner. Getting the second win, having energy. These are already done. These are common ones, which at least these 20 idioms be familiar with and use in the form of games with each other. Have your head in the cloud means daydreaming. So, do you have your head in the clouds or are you listening to me? Yes, students? I think you have your head in the clouds, and are you listening to me? Yes or no? She's off the rocker means someone who's acting crazy. You say off the bonkers or off the rockers. Okay? It's always darkest before the dawn. There are other idioms also. There is a silver lining behind every cloud. Okay, so it's always darkest before dawn means things get worse before they get. Now you say it was darkest before, now it's becoming better. The pandemic has reached a peak and now it's becoming better. It takes two to tango, means one person usually is responsible. When you say when a project fails, you blame one, or two people are doing it and you can't blame. Or you're living together and you go late. You're working in the same office, you go late and you blame the other. It takes two, both are responsible. It takes two to a tango. Getting a second, these are common idioms which I've already learned. Some of them you already learned. Like riding a bike, something that you can never forget how to do. Like, it's like it's like riding a bike. To me, you can never forget. Cooking is like riding the bike to my mom. Two peas in a pot, two people were always together. Now, if I say that two people, they are friends. They don't separate each other. They're close friends. Okay, run like a wind to run fast. This is very easy. Too thick and thin means even through bad days and good days. So good friends, royal friends, they stick to each other through thick and thin, even when during success and failure. On the other hand, fair weather friends, they show their true colors. I'm using what true colors when you are down, when you have a setback. Time is money means work faster. Can't make an omelette without breaking something. You can't make everyone happy. So this is another idiom. You can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it, means you can't force someone to make what a seemingly right decision. Clouds on, like even sometimes you say you teach the students, but they have to put in efforts. I can give you these. I can show you the path. I gave you some good ways to learn. You can talk to each, use them profusely. Clouds on the horizon, meaning trouble is coming. Okay, that's the last. So there isn't time. I'll give you a quiz.
Ma'am, sorry disturbing you, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt. Should I share the quiz on the chat box? Because
Yes.
there's only 5 minutes left.
No, I've just ended. That's what I was telling. There's a quiz. We won't do the activity now. We've already done enough activities. Please share the quiz. Please write down the answers and see how much you scored. There are a few idioms and the context. You just see what there's a quiz. Please.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I have shared the quiz on the chat box.
Okay.
Yes, the students can definitely, access it.
Hmm.
And perhaps they can get back to you. I've also shared your email ID, so they can mail you back whatever they have done, right, ma'am?
Okay. Okay.
If they wish, they can start doing it right now. I mean, it is
Yeah.
your wish, ma'am, as you.
Yeah, you can start your questions, and if you've answered it, each one can tell your score also orally, because we still have only 4 minutes left.
Yes.
If you finish it within 4 minutes, have you opened it? So that's it. I'm ending the quiz. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something new, because idioms, they'll enrich your language. I tell you, both of them. Sensory words, they give you, an edge over others in clarity, writing, especially in describing. Now, this one enriches your language, especially when you talk, instead of beating about using a lot of sentence, use one idiomatic phrase, it gives a meaning. Okay, so that's it. Bye-bye.
Ma'am, not now, ma'am. Just wait for another 6 minutes.
I'm not going. They're writing their test.
Yes, ma'am. 5 more minutes.
You have any questions, you can ask. Yes, Nihal or Ishika, if you have questions, you can ask. You have any questions?
Ma'am, you used one idiom, the last straw, right?
Mm.
You used the idiom, the last straw.
Mm.
I think there is another idiom that can be used instead of the last straw, would be the last nail in the coffin. Don't you think?
Yes, but there is a difference between the last nail. Yeah, last straw is something which is actually happening. So you have and then your point of tolerance, you cannot bear it anymore, and so you decide to end. Hit a nail is also used in a similar context, but there you say that that was the last straw, and then you use that hit the nail idiom. That was the last straw, and I'm going to break. So there, very good. and you say, hit the nail in the coffin, right? That means you're ending it. Okay? So last row is, this is the last bit I can tolerate with this person or this situation. And now I'm going to hit a nail in the coffin. I'm going to end it. I'm going to find a new way. Okay, there are many idioms. So very good, Nihal. All of you who participated. Now, how many marks? So have some of you finished the quiz? Have you opened the quiz? Who has finished? If you can share, there is time. If you have any more questions or anything to say, come on, you shoot a question, let others answer. Shoot, let someone answer an idiom from the ones you learned. Yes, you can write, you can answer the quiz. And then if you have,
Ma'am, a good idiom, an example of a very good idiom would be town and gown.
Very good. Now ask them what's the meaning of town and gown. You explain.
Okay, town and gown is basically, it's a, it's a place. Actually, it's a thing that divides between an intellectual thing, like for example, a school or university from a nearby community. Suppose there is some community which is just, which is just nearby some school or some university, then we can say, yes, this place is, town and gown. It's a place which can be identified as town and gown.
Okay, very good. Any others? You're bringing in very good. You're looking for new idioms. I said, we just, whatever we can, I'm just giving you a taste of it. And you have to learn. There are tens of thousands of idioms. And some are connected. You can have, for the same context, you can have many.
Another idiom, ma'am, that we often use is at the 11th hour.
Oh, okay.
That we often use in
the last
conversation.
moment, yes. You finished it.
Yeah, last moment.
Oh, very good. Monica Singh, she's got 8 out of 10. Very good. She's given a score. Very good. That means she's understood. They're not the same what we learned. They're different. So she's got so anybody else's time is up. They'll close it at sharp 4 and all the rest can give their quizzes to me, submit to me after, you finish. You can send it to me or on my mail, or you can even tell your marks. Okay, Monica Singh, very good. Thank you. Okay, welcome, Monica. See, some of you are not muted. So now Monica has got 8 out of 10. That's very good score. But we expect 10 or 9. That would be nice. So those two, find out the mistake and learn those two. See, this is a way to learn. You learn those 2 idioms where you erred.
Okay. Ma'am, there is a student who's got 10 on 10. Ali Asif.
Ali's got very good. Yes. Wow, very good.
Ritika Jain, 9 on 10.
9 on 10. Congrats.
Sadia Bilal, 10 on 10.
Oh, so they have understood and they really enjoyed it. That means, and they are different idioms. They are different idioms, not the ones which were in the PPT. Wow.
Vibhuti also got, she's also got 10 on 10, ma'am. Vibhuti Jain.
Oh, so many Kopal 10. Wow. Congratulations, all of you. I'm so happy that you have performed well. Now it's sharp 4 p.m. Shall we close? Others can give it to Professor Thanu. Okay, the marks, and she will share it with me. Okay, because she's the one who shared the quiz. So